y'all. But last night, Thursday night football, the first official Thursday night football of the season. This is Amazon's third year having Thursday night football, and that's how stream should look. Peacock. That's how stream should look. How Amazon stream look. Nice, crisp, clear, and 4K. I don't know what that crap was last Friday that y'all pulled over there in Brazil. And honestly, not even that. Y'all pulled it in the Olympics too. The Olympics quality was trash as well. So y'all need to get that together. There's gonna be more Peacock gangs, not just for the NFL, but for the NBA. I'm gonna need y'all to clear that up. But Bills went 2-0 last night. We'll get into the Bills side of things later on in the show. They won 31-10. We'll talk about Josh Allen, gunslingers, and all that. But we need to talk about the story of the day, and that is Tua. He went out again, another concussion again. This is like the fourth one he's had in the last 3 seasons. He did not return to the game, and looks like he's going to be out this weekend in the next game. And this is a game they're also going to need as well for them. And let's be real, he wasn't good when he played. He went 17-25, 145 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, and those 3 picks were terrible. Those 3 picks were god awful, like to the point where I had to actually tell myself that's not a Dolphin wide receiver he's throwing to. So out on the football side, I was like, oh my God, they just paid him. But then I saw him getting knocked out. And by the way, talk about irony. The nigga who knocked him out, Damar Hamlin, you want to talk about irony? To see everything going on with that was crazy. And now you're thinking about the Dolphins in general. The conversation today, I feel like, has been needed when you're talking about concussions and the state of football. We saw his cousin. I didn't know Manti Te'o was his cousin, but that's something I learned today. Manti Te'o.
I don't think it's actually his cousin.
So they play cousins.
Yeah, I think it's like a kind of like a cultural thing.
Okay, all right, because he was on there talking like
it's like us Puerto Ricans. Everybody's our cousin.
Everybody's
I mean, that's the minorities jump. Black people. I got so many cousins. Right. I call my cousins. They my actual cousins. So I didn't know if they were actually related, because what he said it was from a family member. Like, so I thought that maybe they're actually.
Yeah, no, like he calls his Tua's parents like auntie and uncle. It's kind of like it's a cultural thing.
Okay, so that I didn't know that they were play cousins. So shout out to this play cousin Manti Te'o. And by the way, every time I see Manti, I can't get over the original thing that we know that nigga from. That's still funny to me. 12 years later, still funny. But everybody is out there saying like, what he needs to do. Does he need to retire? I can't tell the man what he needs to do. Only he knows what he needs to do from his body. But I do as a viewer, and I don't get squirmish a lot, especially with football. But it looks to see that nigga's hands like go up like Caleb's bear claw or the little nigga from Scary Movie. This is my strong hand. To see that happen so many different times, it doesn't sit with you as well. And I do know he loves the game of football. I will be surprised if he does retire, but this is starting to become bigger and bigger of a conversation. If you're Miami, and not only just Miami, if you're Tua, you got to start thinking a little bit about your own health. Courtney, tell me what you think about the situation that happened and just your overall opinion on it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no doctor or anything, right? But like there are certain symptoms, and like even after you've recovered to a degree from concussions, like, people are known to lose like parts of their vision after concussions, and so many concussions. I mean, listen, there's something in these football players where they feel like, this one play, I have to get this extra yardage, and maybe you do something like I'm literally yelling at the screen, like slide. But, and it's no fault of Damar Hamlin, right? Like it doesn't look like a hard hit. But God, it's an awful situation. It's an awful situation. You can't tell somebody what to do, like you said, but like, who was it that said, Mike McDaniel, like you've got a family, man. Like you've got to be there for them. Like what kind of man and father can you truly be to your family if you can't be there for them, regardless of how much money you might be leaving on the table, or you end up with, with the guaranteed money? Like your health is everything. That's priceless.
Definitely, it's priceless. Even Manti said as well, like, he said outside of the football player, you want to see him grow up and be around his kids. And there's also something too that Chris Long said. Shout out to Chris Long. I really enjoy his Green Light podcast. That's good football talk they got on there. And he said that when he retired, it was kind of the same thing. It just wanted to be around for his kids. Like, I love the game, but I'll care more about my health more. So I really want to know what that process is going to be like. Mikey, what's your take on everything we saw last night?
Well, honestly, I had fallen asleep a little bit at halftime. My James Cook 2 TDs touchdowns, that ticket that hit, so I was KO.
Knocked out.
But I had woke up just in time to kind of see that drive. I was laying on the couch, and instantly when I saw it, I said, "Oh shit!" Like, as he was running, I was like, "Oh shit!" But then instantly, when he was on the ground, he was kind of already doing that thing with his arms, and I was like, "Ah, fuck." For somebody who's already, he had a concussion at Alabama. He had the two famous ones that we know about, in the 2022 season. Now this one, hip issues. I think right now he really needs to sit back and evaluate, like, what do I want to do with my life? And do I want to live, a life where my body is constantly in pain? I always look back at the Derrick Rose, the Derrick Rose sit down, and when he kind of said, like, I'm thinking about life when I get older, and, am I going to be able to walk, up and down stairs and be there for my kids' graduations? And people were, kind of making jokes about him about, like, oh, it's just a knee, but it's really not. Like, that's your life, like, that is you. We only get one body. We only get one shot at this. So, to kind of like see now, like, Tua going through that, like, the jokes aside, because we will always make a joke out of everything. It was fucked up to see, and I would not be shocked if he were to retire. I mean, I look back at, probably the most famous person and playing at the peak of his game, NFL player to retire in my eyes is Luke Kuechly. He was at an all-pro level, 28 years old, and he had 3 concussions in 3 seasons, and he was just kind of like, I'm done. And the one that happened in 2016, he was literally crying on the fucking field, like, he was crying when it happened. So I think it would behoove Tua to just go and sit down and talk to these people. Frank Wycheck, old Tennessee Titans, famous for, the Music City Miracle. He retired after 11 seasons, but he kind of cited, football stuff, his body being fucked up. And he had a concussion his last season. And he said he was certain he had CTE. He fell down in his crib, hit his head, and he died instantly. Like, who knows what is happening, what is going on in his brain. And, Tua's young, he's got money.
He's got a lot of money.
Yeah, and looking at some of the guaranteed stuff with his contract, it's not as guaranteed as it seems. There are some clauses here, as much money as they make, these NFL teams are not just going to go ahead and hand somebody $142 million. So it seems like there's going to be a lot of litigation with that if that's the route he takes. But at this point, man, I think he does need to take his health into consideration, take, his future into consideration. And football is going to be here, but you only, are you going to be here? Are you going to be somebody that's going to live to be past 45, 48 years old? Are you going to be able to do the simple things? Look at Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon played a way tougher style of football. And his shit is like scrambled eggs, and that's not what you want to see. And there's the football side of this too. The Dolphins were hesitant and reluctant to go ahead and pay him due to his injury concerns. This is somebody who's got, hip surgery, ankle surgery, the concussions, and now they're faced with the issue of, what do we do long-term? Because I don't think you can bank on him.
Dante, I think that's a good kind of segue too. There's 2 points for you. What you think about what happened last night, and kind of on the Dolphins' perspective, what they can do from it?
I think the Dolphins should do this exact same thing that the Miami Heat did with Chris Bosh. Like, make him medically retire. Like, don't take a. I mean, they don't have to. If they, from the language in this contract, if they force him to medically retire, and he's owed $146 million. If he just walks away, then he don't get shit. So, I mean, being honest, I know a lot of people say, this ain't charity. They're not going to just give away money. But for the sake of everything, the Dolphins could take the hit and give him that money and make that money back. So I think in this situation, like, seeing the way, and I'm with you, like, for me, I understand that football players get concussions all the time. We see them play through it. You know, we see some get concussions and come out to the next week, which is absolutely insane. But at the same time, it's the way his body continues to seize up when he's getting these concussions. Like he's completely freezing up on the field. And this has been multiple times now. So like I'm with y'all. I think, you know, you got to talk about his quality of life outside of football. You saw that I finally saw the Mental speech today. That was, you know, very heartfelt and very real. Like it's bigger than football. And yeah, we always talk this alpha male, you know, be tough shit. But the reality is, bro, when you have a big ass helmet on and that can't protect your brain, and remember this season Tua got a special helmet, and clearly that shit ain't that special because
Right.
I mean it wasn't a hard hit, and that happened again. So like I think
He had been
the
hit
Dolphins,
harder
bro.
early in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. That's why I say if you the Dolphins, you gotta holler at them like, hey, bro, we actually care about you and don't want you to down this field. Like, so nah, that's it. Wrap this shit up.
And for him, he's at risk of some freak shit because I don't know if you guys saw earlier on the first drive, Dalton Kincaid had got tackled and he was kind of trying to bring his head up and just somebody kind of like kicked him in the head walking by and his head bounced off. Like you're at risk of something like that down the line, triggering effects. And it's just like, I don't know. Like Dante said it the right way. He's just seizing up. And it looks fucked up, and I'm really shocked that he didn't consider. And this is that ego, you know, because we also say, yeah, you got all this money, but this is obviously something that he worked for his entire life and wanted to do. Especially being of, you know, his descent. You don't see many people coming from where he comes and being a starting quarterback. You know, at a big time school, Alabama, then the Dolphins. So obviously, you know, he's fighting that internal battle plus the physical battle plus the outside battle of what, you know, his family, his friends, his coaches, his loved ones telling him. But it's gotten to the point where, my man, like, you're really putting yourself at risk here, and I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it either. And I think, too, the thing to kind of tie it in what the Dolphins should do, like, to me, it's like I think you said, Courtney, that they didn't want to give Tua the money to begin with. So I think that,
like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, and again, this is not the proper time per se to have that conversation. But like, if you're trying to get out of it, it's not the worst time, and that sounds terrible.
It sounds messed up, but like from a business perspective,
similarly with the Deshaun Watson situation. Again. I'm not condoning it. I don't agree with it. But if from a business standpoint, right, the person that you thought you were getting is not who you are getting. So it's an opportune time if you are looking to pivot. And again, I'm not saying that I agree with it, nor do I condone it. I'm just acknowledging what I'm sure a lot of people in that front office are having conversations about.
I mean, but even, you know.
Go ahead, Scott.
No, I'm just going to, even just like what you're saying, like, yeah, it's not the right time, but also they're business. Like, so they also got to think about the future of the franchise. So I think that this franchise, obviously Mike McDaniel, he walked them off the field, gave him a kiss on the head. They love and care for Tua. Like, we can say what we ever want to say about Tua on the field and his on-field production. He's a likable guy, not just in that Dolphins locker room, that Dolphins organization, but entire NFL. So I think it'll be something where, you know, if they have a conversation with him, that he's like, yo, we'll cash you out. You go about this way. And for the Dolphins' perspective, it's messed up this sound. We can suck and we can go out here and try to get in this quarterback. The quarterbacks are going to be available next season in the draft. It's messed up, but that's the reality of the game. Go ahead, Mike.
No, yeah, I was going to hit on just what you said. It is still, there are two sides to this, you know, like we understand we care for the player and his health, but there's also the football side and the on-field product. And, you know, they're torn, but I think they're going to do the right thing. And like you said, they love him, they care for him. I think they're really going to kind of, you know, push him to make a decision to step away from the game. Because nobody wants to see that. And God forbid, if you go ahead and you throw him back out there after being cleared and something happens again, and this kid suffers longer lasting damage or potentially
dies,
then you know, so we can't
believe CTE is still really bad PR for the NFL.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Very bad PR for the league.
And for me, this is kind of what I wanted to hit on my last point, but I forgot about it. But I'm really surprised the NFL and the Dolphins and Tua weren't pushing him to be one of the first players to wear that Guardian cap. You know, in this season, you know, now that we know,
I don't know how much that impacts your brain sloshing around. It's like, you know,
it's supposed to, but you know, it's supposed to minimize their effects. But
yeah, I think he didn't wear it because everybody was raving about the new helmet he had this year. They're like, this helmet was supposed to be basically concussion proof, and like clearly that's some bullshit.
Also, again, still very bad PR for the league. If someone who's known for concussions is wearing this cap, right? Like that doesn't, the optics, I think, are just not great, right? Yeah, the helmet might have been special, but like, I just think the general optics of this guy wearing the helmet maybe isn't great because it takes you down the rabbit hole about CTE.
It's a reminder, like, oh yeah, especially if he's the only one out there wearing this, like this motherfucker shouldn't be out there anyway, you know. But I get it. It's a slippery. It's a
multifaceted conversation,
right?
For sure.
Right. We'll have a comedian Larry Legend in 5 minutes. There's also a certain side of talking about quarterback development that I want to get into after we talk to Larry. I feel like that's kind of a bigger conversation. But even back to the Dolphins thing, like outside of the injury perspective, like you said, Courtney, like I know it sounds morbid saying death, but we just saw the DeMar Hamlin thing, and at that particular point, he didn't get beat. DeMar didn't have the history that Tua has had these last, even in college, like you said, Mikey. So he's in a more more liable for that to happen than it would be somebody else, and he's the quarterback. He's getting hit every play. So I feel like that perspective, and also the Dolphins can look at it from what's back, like take away the injury. I know that sounds messed up. He ain't been playing that well. Like that's also something you got to consider.
I'm not, again, that sounds terrible, but you can't tell me that somebody in that front office is not having that thought.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think there's going to be a real conversation. I think Samo in the chat said that sometimes you got to save people from themselves. And I don't even think it's an ego thing. Look, these athletes, as much as us fans, media, we enjoy watching the game. Nobody loves it more than the athlete. They've been wanting to do this since kids. Like you said, Mike, it might be an ancestral type of pride for him to be somebody from, his race to actually be a starting quarterback in the NFL, be successful in that field. He doesn't want to feel like, he's letting them down. So I do think that's part of it. I don't know if this is a conversation that's going to happen right away. But it's something I don't want to hear anything about him playing anytime soon. If I'm not mistaken, Mike McDaniel already ruled him out for this Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're going with who's their backup?
Skylar Thompson.
Is who?
Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Thompson. Yeah, he played in that playoff game because Tua had the injury. I think the music we hear is Ryan Tannehill. I would probably bring him in. I know there was some talk about, the Packers called him, but he's looking for more of a long-term situation. That to me, whether he's not medically cleared to play or whether they do send him off for the Chris Bosh. And I think I didn't even think about Chris Bosh, Dante. You brought up a good point. They had to save Bosh from himself. Like he was in danger of losing his life hooping with those blood clots. So it's going to have to be an actual conversation that's going to have to be had. And I really interested to see how that's go about.
So cool. Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not